Hi everyone, I am about to throw up. Let me explain. If you're new here, hi, my name's Alanna and I'm a Canadian, but I live here in the UK, and if you're not new here, hey, how's it going? Today is a very big day. I'm terrified because today is the day that I am submitting my application for indefinite leave to remain. And this visa application will decide whether I'm allowed to stay in the UK or not. I've had many visa applications over my nearly 10 years living in the UK, but this is something totally different. This is like the next step to stay in the UK permanently. It's the step right before citizenship. What do I even say? If you watch any of my videos, you might have seen recently I did a video on my life in the UK test. So that is like the first step as part of this visa process. You have to pass like this kind of like British culture exam. So I've done that, I've studied for that, passed it. Now I've just finished my application. So you fill in all your personal information, all the nitty gritty. I've just done that. I'm now at the point where I have to pay for it and submit it. And I've kind of come up to a sort of a surprising hurdle, whether I want to do a standard visa or a super priority visa. So in the past, with some of my previous visas, they give you a couple of different options, like time frame wise. So there's like the standard visa, which takes X amount of time, or you can pay a little bit more for a priority visa. You get a result in a quicker amount of time, or you can pay super priority and get a visa result like immediately. And currently, I don't know if this is going to change in the past, in the future, I don't know. Currently, there's only two options. So you have your standard service, which most people get a decision within 6 months, and that is currently £3,029, and you get a result in 6 months. Or you do their super priority service. Usually there's like a priority in the middle that's kind of like best of both worlds, which is kind of what I was hoping to do. No, doesn't exist anymore. Super priority service. Most people get a decision by the end of the next working day after you attend your biometrics. That is £4,029, a whole £1,000 more expensive. So I'm just sat here like sweating and shaking through this whole application, and now I'm like, what do I do? If we just ignore this question for a second, what actually happens next? So I'm gonna pick one of these options and pay for it. Then I will upload all of my documents. So as part of any visa application, you're required to prove your case, and to do so requires a lot of documents. So I'll pay, I'll upload all of my documents, and then I have to book a biometrics appointment. So I'll go into London. I'm not sure where yet. They have a couple of different like centers. I'll book an appointment at one of these centers. It could be like next week. It could be like 3 weeks, depending on how busy they are. When I attend to the biometrics, they take your photo, they take your fingerprints, and they take your digital signature. And it's only at that point, when you've done your biometrics, that your application is like properly sent to the home office. So that's why the super priority service says that most people get a decision by the end of the next working day after attending your biometrics appointment, because they don't really get anything until you have that appointment. Now it is the 16th of October, 2025. My current visa expires January 2026. Now that is within 6 months, but you're allowed to stay in the UK while you're awaiting a decision. So let's say I do the cheaper version, the £3,000 version. 6 months brings us to like what, May time? Plus you have to account for Christmas. I'm assuming they're not working over the Christmas period. So we're looking sort of April, May-ish. That will be past the time my visa expires, but that's okay because I'm awaiting a decision. I guess what freaks me out is, what if there's a problem and they don't tell me till May, or I get rejected and then I have to leave, and like that I'm just like breaking out in a cold sweat. But £4,000, a whole extra £1,000 to get a next day result. is the pain of losing that money better than the pain of waiting in uncertainty? That's the question, isn't it? And I honestly don't know. A whole £1,000? Ugh! I've already spent so much money. But then by that logic, what's another £1,000 after I've spent, you know, thousands already? I'm gonna do it. Ugh! I'm gonna do it. I hate it. I'm gonna do it. It's fine. I hope the UK government uses my money wisely. I'm gonna do the £4,029 and hopefully get a decision the next working day after my biometrics appointment. That stings. Okay, here we go. I am paying £4,029. Before you continue, you should only move to the next page if you have checked your answers and are ready to submit your application. Once you select Continue to WorldPay, you will not be able to return and edit. I just spent this morning double checking everything, but like now I'm kind of nervous. I'm just kind of like scrolling through my answers. I've already done this. I did update some this morning and I can see that those have saved. So I think we just have to just pull the trigger. I hate this so much. If I pass out, will YouTube take this video down? Okay, here we go. I plugged in my card details. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for supporting me. Here we are on the precipice of the next big adventure as a foreigner in the UK. Here we go, make payment. My bank is flagging this as a scam. They've taken my money. Oh my God. Okay, so a few more steps. I've been transferred to the biometrics people. I have to make an account and do all of that stuff. So I will check in with you guys shortly to see when I can get an appointment and what their next steps are. But I'm terrified, like the thoughts of like, oh my God, what if I plugged in something wrong? You know, I'm just human, but I've done the best that I can. That's all we can ask for, right? I will check back in with you guys really soon. All right, everyone. Wow. Let's just take a breather for a second. So I followed the prompts, made an account, booked an appointment. So today is Thursday, the 16th of October. It was allowing me to book Tuesday, the 21st. I think because I'm also like a priority service, perhaps. It kind of felt like that at least. But I decided to go for Wednesday, the 22nd. So annoyingly, it only has appointments from like 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., which means I have to pay extra for the train to get into London because it's just before sort of like the off-peak service, which I love that. But the latest appointment I could possibly get was 11:45. So I think if I get into Stratford at 11, it's like 15 minutes to walk over, or maybe even try and get in for like 10:30. You know, I'm already paying the premium to get in or to train during like peak time. So maybe I get in even earlier. I don't know. But my appointment is next Wednesday, so less than a week. So the next step is to upload all of my documents, but I've logged out. I need to eat lunch and just like have a sit for a second. And then the rest of the day I'll upload documents, but I still have, you know, nearly a week just in case I find out that I'm missing something or whatever. I have time. You can pay like £250 or something crazy for like an appointment where they do everything for you, or you can bring all of the hard copy documents to them, I think for £50, and they scan them and upload them and stuff. I don't need that. So I'm gonna do it myself for free. And that will be my task for the rest of the day. If you're a foreigner and you're gonna do indefinite leave to remain, I'm going to do a full, like, in-depth how-to video on my other channel, Introverted Expat. I've been taking notes throughout this process. So that's gonna be like the how-to video, how I did the application, like the nitty-gritty kind of stuff. But for this video, I guess I will see you guys next week for our appointment. So it is, what did I say, Wednesday? So potentially Thursday or Friday, I might have a result, which is crazy. It's so much sooner than I needed one. Like, if it was like, oh, you could get it in 2 months instead of 6 months, I would have been fine with that. Next day, potentially, is like a bit extreme, but whatever. It's too late, I've already paid for it. Anyway, I will see you guys next week. Good morning, everyone. Well, it's time. Take a deep breath. We are going to London for my biometrics appointment. So, I'm nervous, as I am with every visa situation, but I've done a biometrics appointment. This is probably my 4th time. You don't normally do them for renewals, from what I remember, like when you renew a visa, but when you apply for a new visa, you have to do them. So I think this is number 4. I've had good ones and I've had bad ones, and it's kind of like, you just gotta go with the flow. But I am bringing my bag, I'm bringing my laptop. We're going early, so biometrics appointments are the type of appointments where if you are late, they cancel your appointment. And I've lived in England long enough to not always trust the trains. So I'm getting a earlier train, just in case if that one's canceled or delayed, I'll still have plenty of time. But we're gonna get the earlier train, and then I thought I'd bring my laptop and we would go work at like a cafe or something. So then at least I know that I'm there, and I won't get my appointment canceled. So with that, one more step in the right direction. Hope it's a nice day out, but either way, we're gonna get this done today. Is there anything that I forgot? I've got my passport. You have to have your passport. You have to have confirmation of your appointment. I've got all that. And I think we're ready to go. So let's do it. And just like that, I'm done. My hands are shaking. I am so sweaty. It lasted maybe 4 minutes. So they recommend that you get here about 15 minutes early, which I did. You sit outside and you wait to be called in. So I sat down. Immediately someone popped their head out and was like, "Do you have an appointment?" "Yeah." "You want to come in?" "Okay." So I go in, I sit there for maybe 4 minutes, and then I get called like to actually start the appointment. So they verified that you actually have an appointment. They scanned my passport, and they scanned every stamp in my passport, which I thought was interesting. Then I get passed off to another woman. She takes my fingerprints, no digital signature this time, which I thought was interesting. And they take kind of like a passport style photo, and then they film you, and you have to say your full name and your date of birth. And then she passed me my passport back and said, "You're done." So because I didn't have to scan any of my documents in, I've already done that myself. That obviously would have taken a lot more time, but because I didn't need to do that, literally like 4 minutes. My hands are shaking, I'm sweating, but at this point, there's nothing more for me to do. It is out of my hands. So it's Wednesday, like it's not even 12 o'clock yet. Because I paid the £1,000 extra, it'll be interesting to see when my result actually comes through and if I've done my application properly, or if they contact me and say, "Hey, we need more stuff." I've never had that happen before, but it does happen. I've heard of it happening. It just never happened to me, which at least if they reach out and they need more stuff is a lot better than them just saying you've been rejected, right? Anyway, I'm just gonna stand here for a second and let that sink in. And then I'm walking back to the mall. maybe walk around the mall just to kind of like unwind a bit. Maybe get a cheeky bit of lunch. And then it's time for home. So obviously I will report back. The next update will be my result. And it's been a long time coming, I'll say that. Anyway, I'll see you guys then. Oh my God, everyone, we have an update. Oh my God. Have a seat, everybody. Oh my God. Well, is this thing on? Maybe this is a bit high. Okay, everyone, well, let's just take a breather for a second. Today is Thursday morning, the 23rd of October. So I saw you guys yesterday for my biometrics. Did my biometrics, that was fine. Spoke with you guys outside the center. That was about noon. So 12 yesterday. I always get 12 a.m. and 12 p.m. mixed up. It was noon yesterday when I was finished, and my application supposedly was being sent off to the home office. So I went back to Stratford. I made the long but easy and boring journey home. Great. That's normal. I also live streamed on Twitch last night. I live stream every Wednesday night and every Sunday night. Subtle, not subtle plug. Please join me on Twitch if you want to get involved in the live streams. So I did Twitch last night as normal. This morning, Thursday morning, I wake up. My phone is on Do Not Disturb through the night. Obviously, I don't want to get notifications or whatever. So I wake up, it's just after 8 a.m. I turn my phone on, I turn the notifications on, and a little email had popped up 11 minutes prior. So like 7 a.m., 7:57 a.m. I got my approval to stay in the UK indefinitely. I could not believe it. Like 5 business hours from noon till say like maybe 5 p.m. when they shut. And then to get my approval at essentially 8 a.m. the next morning is insane. It's insane. This is such a serious visa. I am now allowed to be in the UK indefinitely. It hasn't sunk in. I'm still like in my pajamas. I've got my morning coffee. I'm just kind of like, that's it, we're done. And I cannot believe that had I not paid that extra £1,000, I could be waiting 6 months instead of 5 hours. So it hasn't sunk in. I don't know what to feel. I'm excited, but it's also like it doesn't feel real. You don't get any sort of physical card anymore. We used to get like resident cards. They don't do that anymore. So it's just like I just got an email. It's like, congratulations. And I'm just like, now what? When I moved to the UK, I never intended to settle. It was like I was 22, I wanted to move here, my partner was English, and it was like, let's just do this and see what happens kind of thing. And I never, like this was never the intended, this was never the dream to settle in the UK. I didn't really know what I wanted back then. It was just like, let's just try. And so as part of that, I had never dreamed of British citizenship. It was just kind of like so far in the future, it wasn't part of my reality at all. But now that I've been here almost 10 years, and I mean, we can't not talk about immigration. I don't want this to turn into an immigration video. Anytime I talk about like my personal journey settling in the UK, I always get such really awful comments. I don't want that vibe, okay? But it would be naive to say that immigration isn't changing. Even since I've been here, the goalposts for visas, for immigration fees are always changing and they're always moving, and that is really stressful. And there has been talk about getting rid of indefinite leave to remain. That's the visa that I just got approved for. And I worry that the goalpost for citizenship could very well change soon. So while it wasn't necessarily the be all and end all goal for me, I think that is something that I would like to secure sooner rather than later. So what does that mean? Well, technically I am eligible immediately. I could start the process right now. I was just having a look this morning. From what I can see, it's about £1,800, just the basic application. Of course, you can spend more if you want to get a quicker result. The wait time is another 6 months. You have to prove your case, obviously. You have to prove all the documents again. I will have to do a biometrics again. I'll have to do this whole thing again to get then the citizenship. But I think that is something that I would like to do sooner rather than later. Because there is kind of a part of me that indefinite leave is so big and it's so important and it's so monumental and it's a real sense of security, but yet I also don't really feel that secure. So I think that is something that I would very much like to do sooner rather than later. So maybe after Christmas, kind of get through Christmas. Maybe January, look to do the citizen route and do this all over again. Anyway, that is something for me to consider, to plan out, to budget, to organize. And you know what? I'm just gonna enjoy the moment currently. This is crazy. And it hasn't sunk in. I'm just sat here in my pajamas and I just want to say thank you guys. Thank you for following me on this journey. I started YouTube, I think maybe the second year I was in England. Now almost 10 years have gone by, and what a journey it's been. And if you've been with me for a while, you would know that, you've seen that, the ups and the downs. It certainly hasn't all been positives, but my God, what an incredible, privileged, exciting experience it's been. And I can't wait to see what our next adventure brings us. Anyway, that was it. I think I'm gonna just sit quietly for a minute and absorb it all, because it's just like, wow, what an achievement. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening. What is there else to say other than like, wow, I'm allowed to be here permanently. Except not permanently, because you can get indefinite leave taken away, but let's not dwell on that fact. It's permanent. This is crazy. Wow. I'm leaving now. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.